Happy whatever day you're watching this on. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Today for me, when I'm recording this, is a Monday. I'm not going to release this on Monday. This is going to be released on Wednesday. So happy Wednesday if you're watching this the day of release. Today I released on Monday. The last video I released was about spotlight keys and bundles, why they're bad, something called opportunity cost, which is when a key is given to you in a bundle. What exactly are you missing out on instead of getting the credits? Really interesting video to me. Also talk about prices and anchoring. Check that out if you want. Really do appreciate it. Today's going to be a fun video, and that is going to be about buffing cards. The next OTA is going to be on Thursday, April 26th. So let's do a couple predictions of what cards are going to get buffed. I'm not going to talk about cards that should be nerfed. I'm going to just show you guys a quick video from Pirate Software about why I want to focus more on buffing cards than nerfing cards.
The way that you remove metas is you take the stuff that's falling behind, that's not in meta, and you buff it. You don't take the things that are working, you nerf the shit out of them. It doesn't work that way. The moment you do that, you've created a worse meta. You've created a toxic meta because people are upset, and now they have to look for something that actually works. It's a bad direction in terms of development.
I really enjoyed Pirate Software's insight on what happens with the meta, changes you have to do, why nerfing a card is bad and why buffing cards are better. There are some times where you do need to nerf a card, and Second Dinner does that very effectively sometimes when they want to take a card and just maybe reduce the power by 1, some very little minor change just to bring down the power level of it just a little bit to see what it does. That's usually not that bad, and it typically doesn't destroy decks or different type of archetypes. However, sometimes they are absolutely terrible at it. Zabu is the most recent victim of this, where in the update where they changed him from an ongoing to an on-reveal, that they even said in the comments, Zabu is at his least popular stage since his release, and this is a temporary change because we do want to do a rework on him. If he's not popular, if this is the least popular he's been since his release, and he is not in meta decks, he's not in any of the super high performing ridiculous decks, why are you making a change to him? Even temporarily. It's a very, very poor development taste. Just like when Mobius and Mobius was changed. It was stupid. So sometimes Second Dinner does it extremely well with just a small little power change, but when it comes to completely nerfing cards, changing their abilities, they have failed almost 100% of the time. It's bad. So that's why we're only talking about buffing cards. So there is one card of all these cards that is very weird of the change that they made for it, and it does need to get changed, and that is going to be the Time Stone. So the Time Stone doesn't make sense to me. It used to be gain an energy, draw a card, and then they changed that to give Thanos -1 cost next turn, and draw a card. So Thanos right now is always going to be in your starting hand. He's always going to be the first card that's there. Okay. So when you have a location like Sanctuary, that Time Stone, when you get that, just is dumb. It hurts. It's not as bad as what Mind Stone used to be. Now, Mind Stone was changed because of Sanctuary, the location coming up. So Sanctuary is a location that once it's revealed, you add a random Infinity Stone to your hand. So when you got Mind Stone added to your hand, it didn't make sense to have it because it says draw 2 Infinity Stones, but when you're giving it to it randomly, unless you have a Thanos deck, it's not going to do anything for you. So this is something that also doesn't do anything for you at all. So since Thanos is going to be the first card in your hand, since that's the way they changed it, Time Stone, I think, should be changed to give the leftmost card in your hand -1 cost next turn and draw a card. This way, it actually doesn't change it at all. Thanos is going to be the leftmost card in your hand. He is still going to get -1 cost, and if you get this in Sanctuary, or for some reason Thanos is removed, discarded, something like that, at least you're still getting a little bit more of a use out of this card, right? First change, I think it should get done. Will it get done? Who knows? So the next card I would like to see changed or buffed is going to be Ultron. Ultron was very popular in Patriot decks. He got me a lot of wins with it. He is great when you are when you have locations like Death's Domain, Sanctum Sanctorum, places where you can't fill up locations enough, and just having those filled up with just like a little bit of power is great. His drones are affected by Patriot, so him in a Patriot deck was fantastic. But since new Patriot decks have come out and new cards have come out, along with just the fact that the power that he can add to all the locations isn't as effective as it once was, I think just having a small change of having it from where he deploys 4 1-power drones to each other location, changing that to fill each location with 1-power drones, including his own, I think that might help to maybe boost his performance just a little bit. It's not a huge buff, it's just a little bit of a buff. I think this would be fantastic for Ultron. Currently, I don't know what else to do, but just a small little buff to see how people react to that. I think this would be great for Ultron. Next is White Queen. Copy the highest cost card in your opponent's hand into your hand. When you have cards like Mirage, where you're copying the lowest cost and then giving it a power boost, it does make it seem like, well, what's the point of White Queen right now, especially since Zabu isn't Zabuing anymore. A change I would like to see from her to help get her some more gameplay is copy the highest cost card in your opponent's hand into your hand. On your next turn, give it -1 cost and must be played at this location. So you play her on 4. Let's just say you get a 6 cost card from your opponent. It's going to cost you 5 instead of 6. So you're getting that discount. But the catch is you have to play it at her location. You can't play it anywhere else, but only for the next turn. If it's a 6 cost card, you don't want to play it the next turn. It's not a good one. You can play it on turn 6, but it goes back to its regular cost, and then you can play it at any other location. The next card is going to be Morph. Morph becomes a copy of a card in your opponent's hand. With all these different cards targeting the highest cost, lowest card, leftmost, rightmost card, I think Morph would be a fantastic choice to change to become a copy of the leftmost card in your opponent's hand. If you're going against an Agatha deck or a Thanos deck, you are guaranteed to get some really strong card. If not, who knows what you're going to get. The other benefit of this is the longer the game goes on, the leftmost card in your opponent's hand is probably going to be stronger because they can't play it too soon in the early game. It's going to help guarantee you get a better, stronger card. Up until then, you don't know what you're getting. Having it be something specific, I think that would be a great choice for Morph. I think that would also boost his usability in the game. Next is Colossus. Colossus's ongoing is can't be destroyed, moved, or have its power reduced. I would like to see him change to just not having ongoing ability. Just have it be his permanent ability, where he can't be destroyed, moved, or have his power reduced. Just take away the ongoing, make it innate. I don't really know if this would increase his usability, but when there are things with Echo or Isle of Silence, things like that, it kind of sucks because he is a 2/3. He is one of the earlier cards. I don't think this would really boost his use up in the community in decks, but I think it's just a fantastic change to the card to bring him up to what today's level is. There's so many more cards today than when he was released that have just innate abilities and not ongoing abilities. I think this would be a very nice change for him. Next card is the best card in the game, Baron Morto. Baron Morto is a 2/3 that says, on reveal, your opponent draws a card, set its cost to 6. Now, if there's something where they have Mobius out or something happens where the cost of the card can get reduced, that's just an extra card in their hand. And sometimes it won't matter, especially if they draw a 6 cost card. And most of the time, you won't be able to do anything about this card costing 6. But I think having it be where the cost cannot be reduced after it's drawn, would this boost his use? I don't think so. But would it make him not what people claim to be one of the worst cards in the game? Yes. Next card is going to be Master Mold. Master Mold currently is a 2/2 where on reveal add 2 Sentinels to your opponent's hand. I think he should be a 2/5 instead. Still adding the 2 Sentinels to your opponent's hand, but with the ongoing ability of -1 power for each Sentinel your opponent has at this location. So a 2/5 might not be that strong, might not be that threatening, but your opponent does have the opportunity to play these cards that Master Mold has given them to then reduce his cost. It's also making your opponent's location fill up. So if your opponent filled this location, Master Mold would go down to a 2/1, and your opponent would have 12 power there total. So it's a nice little mixture of having the card be more interactive with your opponent, actually have like real consequences, because anyone who's had Master Mold played against them, it doesn't really do much at all. This, I think, is something would be an actual fantastic change and would boost his use throughout the community, at least temporarily. I love this change. Jean Grey. I think Jean Grey should just be a 3/4. Just give her 1 more power. This is going to be, the next couple of cards are going to be just a small power boost or cost reduction. Jean Grey is a 3/3 where players must play their first card here each turn if possible. I think making it a 3/4 would make it a little bit more usable. Not that much, but if you are playing her and then your opponent is going to be playing more cards at that location, you're forcing them to do that while you're also being forced to do that. You look at cards like Polaris or Magneto where they draw cards to them and then they have a higher power because of that. I don't think this deserves to be as strong as Polaris, but I think having a 3/4 for her is much better than having a 3/3. Lockjaw, he used to be a 3/4, then they made him a 4/5. I think he needs to go back down to 3 cost. Make him 3 power instead as well. Right now, you can only use his ability once per turn. So he is a 4/5 after you play a card here. Swap it with a card in your deck once per turn. So in a normal game with just 6 turns, you aren't even going to be able to fill up the lane and do an exchange for every single card. So if this goes back to a 3, that is going to give you that option to do that. I have once per turn in red, where if you are going to keep him as a 4/5, just get rid of that ability. You know, just have it where he could do it multiple times. 2-in-1, something like that. Bring that whole thing back. I get it was really bad with Thanos, but if you are going to keep him as a 4/5, at least take that away. I forgot to change the avatar. Everyone just completely ignored that. Next is Ghost. Ghost is a 3/5 ongoing. Your cards are always revealed last. She used to be a 1/2, then made into a 3/5. I thought that was a dumb change. Like, for some reason, that makes it better. I didn't get it. And no matter what any content creator said, I did not use them even more. In fact, I used Ghost even less because I would want to play Ghost later on where they can't really plan for me to be playing Ghost. Because I don't want them to know that maybe I'm going to have a Shang-Chi and for them to have priority so much. So this just makes it harder to play in the later game. I think instead of a 3/5, 2/4. 2/4 or even a 2/3 might be fine, but reduce her cost, reduce her power, make her a lot easier to play in the later game. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know what nerfs are going to happen. I don't know what buffs are going to happen, but I do hope that in the future, some of these cards are changed in a positive way. Fingers crossed, honestly, of all these changes that I proposed that I would like to see, Time Stone is one that is, I think, really needed, because when you get Time Stone from Sanctuary, it's dumb. It's not fun at all. Change Time Stone, make it in line with the same reasons that Mind Stone was changed. I think that'll make Time Stone so much better. Aside from that, I would love to see Master Mold changed. I think that of all the changes that I would like to see, Master Mold is going to be my favorite one of the cards I talked about today. As far as nerfs, we'll see what happens tomorrow, guys. Have a great day. See you next time.